My first musical instrument that comes to mind when I'm thinking about it, we're talking about 32 years now, would be the drum set. Followed by, I would say just a few months later, the vibe/marimba or xylophone. And then after that, it would be the piano. So I started on all three of those at the age of 3.
And you're
Very much. I'm still playing every instrument possible. I've even added the acoustic bass to my repertoire. You know, I had a very strict practice schedule coming up as a kid. So I practiced 5 days a week, from 5:30 to 7:30, a half hour on each instrument. One, you know, and varying all styles from jazz to classical, R&B, Motown, all types of things like that. And during the summertime, we actually doubled up. So we will have 90 minutes in the afternoon, and then we would do another 90 minutes, you know, still in the late evenings. Well, the most formal from the very beginning was my dad. His name was Warren Wolf Sr. My dad taught me how to play just about everything. He plays the vibes, he plays the piano and the drums. So he learned from his father. His name is James Nelson Wolf Sr. He was a local pianist in Baltimore, I believe in the 50s and 60s. So, you know, my dad basically taught me everything that he knew. And on the weekends, I really had a chance to study formal classical music at the Peabody Preparatory with a percussionist by the name of Leo LePage. He's now deceased. He was a member of the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra for years. So I took lessons on Saturdays with him for about 7 to 8 years. Eventually, once I got to high school, Baltimore School for the Arts, the school told me that I could not take lessons with this guy anymore because they already had a teacher in the Baltimore Symphony who taught at the Performing Arts School. So I kind of had to make a decision. Of course, education is number one. So we decided to drop the guy at Peabody and attend Baltimore School for the Arts and study with percussionist John Locke. Again, all classical, learning a lot of technique when it comes to all percussion, just total percussion, when it comes to xylophone, marimba, vibraphone, timpani, snare drum, chimes, anything that has to do with percussion, you name it. So that was my formal education right there. And the other part of my education is hanging out at nighttime in the clubs, you know, just getting the real deal, you know, stuff that you don't learn in books. You know, this is how you learn how to play on stage in a live setting, in clubs, and in front of an audience. It might have been, but I really don't know. I mean, I couldn't travel but so much, and my parents had to work in the morning. So where I lived in Baltimore was in Gwynn Oak, Maryland, and the club that was closest to us was a club called the Sportsman's Lounge. There was an organ player, I don't know his last name, but we all called him Chico. He used to play there every Monday night along with a drummer named Bobby Ward. This is not the Bobby Ward in Connecticut or Boston, but it's a guy in Baltimore named Bobby Ward. And they would be there leading a jam session. You know, a lot of guys would come hang out. One of my earlier role models who I used to look up to when I was a kid at the time, he was a trumpeter by the name of Dante Winslow. Dante is now a trumpeter who's on the road with Justin Timberlake. And he's worked with a lot of R&B people, from Justin to Jill Scott and many others. But we used to hang out there for the most part. And that was on Monday nights. Once I graduated in 1997, I went north to Berklee College of Music in Boston. And from there, that's when I started hanging out at the club Wally's Cafe. Thanks to a good friend of mine, John Lampkin, and other people such as Jaleel Shaw, Jeremy Pelt, Wayne Escoffery, and many others. So we started hanging out at this club and just really getting a serious education on the bandstand by being at this club. Well, I wouldn't say one is more important than the other for us learning from both. It was just great to have all of it at the same time. I feel sometimes that I am a part of that whole Young Lions crew from the 90s with Christian McBride, Nicholas Payton, and all of those guys, even though I'm not. But I feel that way because majority of my work that has come from my career has been from those guys. I've toured with Christian McBride, I've played with Nicholas Payton, I've played with Wynton Marsalis and the Lincoln Center guys, and you know. But then again, I have the experience of playing with the younger generation, if you want to call it, from the guys who are in their 30s now, from Jeremy Pelt and all of those guys. It's great to learn from them and be on the bandstand with those guys, but it's also great to get the education in school at Berkeley. I studied with Dave Samuels at Berkeley, and I got a great sense of playing modern music learning from him. We all know Dave as the vibraphonist from Spiral Gyra and Double Image and the Caribbean Jazz Project. So it's all pretty good for me. You know, everything coming together, and I'm just learning as much as I can from everybody. Teachers that I had that come through my life, I'm just going to start from the beginning. I named my father Warren Wolf Sr. There was Leo LePage with the Baltimore Symphony, John Locke with the Baltimore Symphony. Another guy at my first jazz teacher in high school, his name was David Stambler. He's actually running the music program at Penn State in Pennsylvania. Dave Samuels, another guy named Ed Sandin. Those were like the actual teachers in the classroom for the most part. Outside of the classroom, being on the stage, we can go from Mulgrew Miller, Tim Warfield, Christian McBride, and Bobby Watson. I'll say those are the main four. Of course, there are many musicians who have influenced me and given me things to work on, and you know, just to hear them play and be next to them on the bandstand. But again, Mulgrew Miller, Tim Warfield, Bobby Watson, and Christian McBride, those are like the four that actually gave me my start in music, and I'll be forever grateful for them. Hi, this is Warren Wolf. For more videos, please go to JazzTimes.com.